Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So many of you have asked me to share some numbers with you when I go out to property deals. You asked me to show you what I do when I analyze deals. So I'm actually on my way today to the small town of Wellington here in the Winelands. For those of you that don't know, Wellington is actually quite well known for student accommodation, and obviously this whole Winelands area is growing, yeah, everyone knows about how this whole Paarl Valley and the Winelands area, Stellenbosch, etc., and also Wellington is growing massively at the moment. So there's also quite a nice opportunity for a hybrid property investment strategy. So we do it with some of our other properties where it's a hybrid between student accommodation and also young working adults. So yeah, I'm driving to this deal, and I'm going to quickly do a walkthrough, and then I will crunch the numbers, and I'm going to share it with you guys, and you can have a look at it, and then we can decide together if we think it's a good deal, and if it's worth putting in an offer, or rather go on to the next one. So let's see how this deal looks. Hey guys, so we just arrived at the property here in Wellington. So there in the background you can see it's two properties. That's the first one there that runs all the way back to the back end of that earth, and then there's another property, the apartment block next to that. So there you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to do a walkthrough with you now, walk you through the property, show you all the different units in the property. We're going to look at the condition of the property. There's two owners that owns these two properties with a 50-50% shareholding. So they own it in their individual names, but they own both properties. So the transaction will be one offer to purchase. The owner is two owners, both own 50% each of the two buildings there, right? There you can see it. So we'll do the walkthrough and then I'll run the numbers with you. Cool guys, so let's do the walkthrough, right? So we're going to go in there at the front gate and then walk up the stairs to that unit there in the corner at the front part of the building. Then we're going to come down, we're going to go around the property to the back. There's a number of units at the back on the first floor and on the ground floor, so we'll look at those units. Then we're going to come to the front of the property and we'll go into that 3-bedroom unit that sits on the ground floor here. On the ground floor there's a big 3-bedroom as well, and then at the top we'll go around at the back. There's a big 3-bedroom there as well, and then a nice corridor that runs at the back of or next to the property on the right with a washing room where people wash their clothes and then hang it there on the side. So this is, and then obviously you've got the ground floor units at the back, and then this is the other property part of the transaction. There's a shop in the front, and then a number of bedrooms at the back, and then you can see the garages from here at the back where the people park their cars. So let's do the walkthrough. Awesome. So here we're going up to the top floor at the front of the property so that you can see how it looks. Okay, now we're walking into a 1-bedroom unit here in the front with a bathroom, lounge area, kitchen, and there's electrical prepaid meter with 1 bedroom here. Now we're walking on the side of the big apartment block, going to the top. Here you'll see there's a section where you can actually build on top of the property. We're going into a 3-bedroom here with a kitchenette. There's a bathroom. I'll take the bath out and put a shower in. Here's a bedroom. Then we've got a lounge area. You can probably put a single room in that lounge and still have a lounge area. Here's the stoop, the front part of the property. And here we're going into another bedroom. So this unit's a 3-bedroom, lots of space, which is awesome. Here's the main bedroom, lots of space with a cupboard. And now we're going into the 1-bedroom on the ground floor. There you see the shower. So there's a number of these 1-bedrooms. We'll see that when we on the side of the property, walking down to, here's a random toilet. And then a washing room, which is obviously awesome if we want to repurpose it for students. Just need to clean it out, looks very messy. And here is the 2-bedroom at the back. So kitchenette, bathroom, lots of damp there. That room's closed because there's a dog. And here we go into the 3-bedroom unit at the front. Small single room with this reception area. Then we're going into the lounge, single bedroom. You can probably there's another bathroom with shower. You can probably turn the lounge into a single bedroom. And here's another toilet with a single room. So that's the 3-bedroom. Right. Awesome, guys. I'm back in the office. So let's quickly run some numbers on this deal. Remember, the focus is really to educate you guys out there and show you how we run the numbers. For this exercise, we're going to look at the cash flow, the monthly cash flow. And then, we'll look at 2 scenarios, what it's looking like currently, and then if we repurpose it for student accommodation and young working adults, if we can potentially get a better cash flow and return on investment. So let's have a quick look and then you can tell me what you think. Okay, guys, so here you can see the flyer that the agent gave me. So in the top right hand corner, you'll see that this property, the one on the left and the right, is in the market for 4.995. On the left is the one with the shop front at the front on street, and then that property runs all the way to the back. And then on the right, you've got the apartment block. So in total, across these 2 properties, you're sitting with 14 bedrooms and 13 bathrooms, 4 garages and 6 parkings. Right, if we look at the current monthly rental on the property as it is at the moment, let's start first with the apartment block on the right. So currently there is 5 1-bedroom apartments, 1 2-bedroom apartment, and 2 3-bedroom apartments. So if we take all of those units and we look also at the building on the left, the one with the shop front at the front, and then obviously there's a residential area to that building on the left as well at the back. Okay, so if we add all the monthly rental for all the units together, then currently we're looking at 46,400 Rand monthly rental income. Now if we go through the projected monthly expenses, I've added 0 for advertising because obviously we don't have to advertise at the moment. All the tenants are there as is. I've worked out a bond monthly repayment on a 4.95 million Rand purchase price with a 100% LTV or loan to value over a 15-year term. So currently there are products in the market which is a hybrid between residential and commercial loans, and they do 10 to 15 years. I've worked it out on a lower interest rate, which is probably going to be a bit higher. But anyway, for this purpose, let's use those terms. So it's worked out on a monthly installment of 56,773. The rates between the 2 properties is on the one property it's 2,399, the other one is 6,677. So the apartment block is obviously the one because there's more people staying there, there's more units in that unit, so in that property. There's no supervision and cleaning at the moment. And then I've worked out property insurance of 2,500. That's just an estimate. Pest control of 560. I've used 5% for property maintenance, so 5% of the monthly rental income, which works out to 2,320. And then 0 Wi-Fi because the tenants are currently covering their own Wi-Fi. I've worked out 1,000 Rand per month for electricity in the communal areas because the tenants are covering their own electricity through prepaid meters in each unit. And then I've added accounting fees and bank fees. So currently we'll see that the rental income is 46,400 minus the monthly expenses of 73,000. So we're sitting with a negative monthly cash flow of 26,807, which is obviously not great at all. But what I've done now, and I think this is one of the most important things that I always tell our clients and our students in our coaching programs, is one of the most amazing things about property investment is you have this opportunity to focus on properties properties with a twist. So what do I mean with that? So properties with a twist is where you as the investor can add value. So for example, what I've done is you will see in the footage that I've shared earlier on the video that I've actually worked out with the 3 bedrooms, we will actually be able to add an additional room for each 3 bedroom. So we'll be able to turn it into a 4 bedroom. We'll add additional drywalling and add a room in each of those units. And then I went to do some market research in the area, and I've discovered that close by there's a property very similar to this where they charge 3,000 to 4,000 rand per bed or per room. Okay, so if we then, let's say we charge 3,500 rand per room, and we now turn the 3 bedrooms into 4 bedrooms, then you'll see on the rent roll that we are able to increase the monthly rental for the 3 beds from which is currently around 5,800 rand. We're able to increase that to, let's say, 14,000 rand for the 2 3-bedrooms. I'm going to keep the 1 bedrooms the same price because I think it's going to be too difficult to try and convert that into a 2-bedroom. And then there are also 2 bedrooms where we can charge per room. We'll charge 3,500 rand for those rooms. So then the 2-bedroom units will be 7,000 rand. And then I've also worked out that we'll be able to convert the shop front and the residential area at the back into 4 rooms, which will then be 4 times 3,500, which is another 14,000 rand. Okay. So if we then look at the rent roll per month, then you'll see it's a completely different story. So currently, if we've added the value, we've added all those extra rooms, now we're all of a sudden sitting with a monthly rental income of 71,500, which is obviously significantly more than what it is currently. It's currently sitting at 46,400. Okay. So what we've done now is we have worked out that monthly rental income, but now we also need to look at the expenses because we need to make sure that the deal actually works and it fits our investment criteria. Because if it doesn't fit our criteria, then obviously there's no reason for us to move forward and even try to put an offer in, or we need to figure out what we need to change to make it more attractive and where it can potentially fit into what we're looking for. So one of the first things that you'll notice as we go through this new income and expense statement after we've repurposed the building for students is you'll see additional expenses that wasn't in the previous income and expense statement. Now, the reason for that is, remember, with students, you've got additional expenses that you don't have for a more traditional buy-to-let strategy. So the first thing is, obviously, we're going to repurpose for students, so we're going to have to place new tenants in, and we're going to have to advertise through the likes of Property 24, Gumtree, Facebook, etc. So according to experience, I've put in 2,500 or 2,500 rand for monthly advertising fees. Another thing that you'll see is I've looked at the previous or the purchase price or the asking price of the property, and I've realized that the monthly shortfall is just too large for the deal to be attractive. So I've looked at a lower potential offer that will get us closer to break even or even a positive cash flow position. So I've worked out that if we offer 3.75, which is literally R1 million less than what the asking price is, with the same financial loan to value terms, then our monthly installment drop to 42,000 rand per month. So from 56 down to 42,000 rand. I've kept the municipal rates and water the same. The water is still included because many times, depending on which model we use, we are going to have to cover some of the water expense each month for the students. What you'll see is I've included a supervision and cleaning person. We've got building managers at our properties, so with students, you need to make sure that there's someone to supervise and keep the communal areas clean. So we've put in a 5,000 Rand per month for that person's salary. Then property insurance is the same, 2,500 Rand. Pest control, 560. I've kept it on property maintenance, 5% of the rental, the new rental, which is 3,575. Then I've added Wi-Fi because we'll cover the Wi-Fi, which is all inclusive for the students. So that's 1,500 Rand. Electricity for communal areas, 1,000 Rand. That might go up. Remember, for some student models, the landlord covers a portion of the electricity, so that might be even a little bit higher. And then the accounting fees and the bank fees. And then the last thing that you'll see that is also added is vacancy levels. So remember, with students, your vacancy levels are or tend to be much higher than with normal buy-to-let properties. So I've added a 10% vacancy rate. Currently, in some of our other student properties, we're sitting with a vacancy rate between 10 to 15%. So, yeah. And the first thing that you'll notice as we go through this income and expense statement is, unfortunately, we're still coming in at a cash flow deficit of just under 5,000 Rand. Now, some people might be looking at that and think, well, you're only paying in less than 5,000 Rand per month to own a property that gives you, let's say, 71,000 Rands worth of rental income per month. But it all comes down to what your investment criteria is. What is your investment and financial goal? And is this property going to move you closer to that bigger goal, investment goal that you have for yourself over the next 3, 5 to 10 years? And for us in our business, this deal is not going to move us closer to where we want to go. All our student properties and young working adult properties are generating between 15 to 20,000 Rand positive cash flow per month. So this is definitely not a deal that we will want to move forward with and put an offer in. But I trust that the information that I shared with you was educational and valuable, and it also gives you a bit of an idea of the journey and the process that we follow when we analyze deals and what we look for. And remember, the amazing thing about property investment is that area where you can add value. Remember, we're always looking for a property with a twist where we can add something which will have a significant impact on the rental income that we can charge. So yes, I hope this was helpful. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions around some of the information that I shared with you. Remember, all of the information, there are many variables and many things that can look completely different. So this deal serves as a bit of a framework and a reference point for you. But I'm sure there will be questions around the numbers and things that might be a little bit unclear. You are welcome to contact me in the comments section. I will respond to you and see how we can continue this educational process and help you to really come to grips with the strategy when it comes to student accommodation and young working adult accommodation. And we will continue to share information like this, which is educational and value driven to the people in our network, that they can learn, that they can educate themselves. Remember that saying that says the greatest investment that you can make is to invest in yourself first. So this information for me is all about investing in yourself first and educating yourself first, and then having that knowledge to go out there with confidence and make sure that you focus on the right investment opportunities. So great to go on this journey with you. Please remember to drop any questions in the comments section, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video.